Hello, chemistry students. Professor McMahon with Chapter 3, Lecture 3. In this particular lecture, I'm going to cover the combustion analysis calculations. Those involved what we did earlier with empirical and molecular formula calculations. So as a general recap, last time we talked about how an empirical formula is the simplest formula, while the molecular formula is actually how the structure is found in nature. It shows its true connectivity. So in this example problem, we're asked to find the molecular formula given the simplest formula or the empirical formula CH or C5H4 with a molar mass of 128.16. So the way we did this last time is we took the total molar mass of 128.16. We determined the empirical formula's molar mass by going 5 times carbon plus 4 times hydrogen. I'm going to make this easy. We're going to say carbon is basically 12. The hydrogen is basically 1. So you have 4 plus 60 gives me a 64 grams per mole, which means N is 2. So my molecular formula, if I multiply C5H4 by 2, the scale factor, I get a C10H8. We also did calculations where we would be given the mass data, and that's also why we had to learn mole calculations, going from mass to moles using molar mass. And given percentages, we can convert these percentages and just assume that we had 100 grams, that in this example, we had 39.97%, which is equivalent to grams of carbon, convert the percent of 13.41 to grams for hydrogen, and the 46.62 grams of nitrogen. And converting these to moles using molar mass, again, this is roughly 12. This is 1, this is 14. We get these numbers, and then to simplify this, we divide by the smallest moles. We easily see that this is going to be 1, this will be roughly 4, right? And then we use our molecular formula, molar mass, and determine that this molar mass is 30, divide 60 by 30, our N is 2, so multiply this by 2, and we get the 60 grams per mole, and we get the C2H8N2. So that's what we did last time. So again, the way we get mass data typically is through some type of chemical reaction where we collect a compound and we're able to mass it out. So this is going to be we're going to do this in greater detail in chapter 4 and 5, but in chapter 3, there are some balancing equation problems. So again, I'm going to quickly cover reactions, and we know that, chemistry is not just the study of matter, it's the study of physical and chemical changes that occur in matter, and everything around us basically is a chemical reaction where atoms are being rearranged. So we use the Bunsen burner in lab quite a bit. And the fossil fuel that comes out of the Bunsen burner is methane, the CH4 gas. And basically, this combines with oxygen to produce the product of CO2 and H2O. This is a very common combustion reaction. All combustion reactions have a fuel source. A fuel source with oxygen, because you need oxygen to support combustion, producing the products of CO2, water, and energy. Okay, so that may be in the form of heat or something else. So we can quickly see that all the carbon in the fuel source goes into the CO2, and all the hydrogen in the fuel source goes into the water. So I know that the molar mass of CO2, I can figure that out, right? Carbon is 12. There's 2 oxygen, each is 16. That's 32. 32 plus 12 gives me 44 grams per mole. And in CO2, the one carbon is 12 grams per mole. So I have a ratio of 12 grams per 44 grams, right, as mass. Or I could say, in 1 mole of CO2, there's 1 mole of carbon. I can do the same thing with the hydrogen, right? There's 2 hydrogen, right? In 1 water molecule, there's also an oxygen. If I was to add this up, 16 plus 2 is roughly 18 grams per mole for water per 2 grams per mole of hydrogen. So I could say there's 2 grams of hydrogen per 18 grams of water, or 2 moles of hydrogen per 1 mole H2O. All of these are ratios. Now, I use these coefficients, you see a 2 in front here, so that I can balance the number of atoms, right? So if I see here, there's 4 oxygens, because I need 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason why I needed 4 oxygens is I had 4 hydrogens, and that's where these are, okay? But again, combustion reaction is a very common reaction. It always requires O2 to support it, and we're going to be producing carbon dioxide and water. Now that's extremely useful because, for example, a lot of the compounds we work with are organic, which means they contain carbon, hydrogen, and sometimes oxygen, and I'm always going to produce CO2 and H2O. So as I said with the empirical formula, molecular formula calculations, if I burn a fuel source that has carbon and hydrogen, or even oxygen, I could collect all that water, I collect all that CO2, weigh it out, and then I know per 44 grams of CO2, right, there's 12 grams of carbon, and that came from there. And from my 18 grams of H2O, there's 2 grams of hydrogen, and that came from there. I could also do mole ratios. There's 1 mole of carbon per 1 mole of CO2. Or come over here, 2 moles of hydrogen atoms per 1 mole of H2O. So why is that important? Well, part of your empirical formula calculations involve combustion analysis. And instead of them just giving you the element of carbon and hydrogen to use that mass data to determine empirical formula, they give you the CO2 and the H2O. Now remember, the map for empirical formula is to convert the grams of the element to moles, then do your mole ratio, and then if you need, you might need to multiply that by some factor to get a formula ratio. Well, we're still going to do that, but the tricky part is we're not just getting grams of CO2 or CO, or we're not just getting grams of carbon or grams of hydrogen. We're getting grams of CO2. But, we could easily say, well, if I have 1.83 grams of CO2, and I know there's 44.01 grams of CO2 per 1 mole, I can get moles of CO2. And then I can do the same thing. I can say, well, there's 0.0901 grams of H2O. Well, there's 18 grams of H2O per 1 mole. So now that gives me moles of H2O. But again, to get the empirical formula of a compound of carbon and hydrogen, for me to figure out the X and the Y in this combustion analysis problem for the empirical formula for this hydrocarbon, I can't leave it in moles of H2O, and I can't leave it in moles of CO2. What can I do? Convert the moles into the moles of the element. So how do I do that? Well, in 1 mole of CO2, there's 1 mole of carbon. In 1 mole of H2O, there's 2 moles of hydrogen. So now what do I have? I have the moles of the elements, just the carbon and the hydrogen. So now I don't have moles of CO2 and H2O or grams of CO2 and H2O. I have just moles of the elements. But again, I can't put, sorry about that. I can't put these small numbers as the integers for these variables. So what do I have to do? I have to go from moles to mole ratios. And how do I do that? I'm going to pick the smallest number and divide it into both. So what's smaller, 0.0416 or 0.10? 0.0416. So this will give me at least 1 mole, right, of carbon, but it gives me this 2.4. So how do I handle this 0.4? Do I multiply by 10? No. So a lot of students see that decimal and they understand by multiplying by 10, I move that decimal over. And I guess you could do that. You could say C10, H24, but that's not the simplest because now 2 can go in both of those and I'll end up getting C5, H12. Really what you should be recognizing is that 0.4 is 2/5. So what I need to do is multiply the 1 and the 2.4 by 5. That's what I'm doing. And when I do that, 1 times 5 is 5. 2.4 times 5 is 12. Now, I guess you can multiply it by 10, like I said earlier, and then reduce it by dividing both by 2. You'll get the same answer. So if you want to do that, that's fine. You can totally do that, okay? So that's kind of a warm-up for combustion analysis. You're going to notice that some of your combustion analysis don't just have carbon and hydrogen as a fuel source in this combustion problem. They're going to have oxygen. Now, the problem with that if we look at combustion, what you can't do is determine the grams of carbon, from the CO2 and the H2O, and then kind of add the total grams of these two and then subtract to get the oxygen, because some of the oxygen's coming from the other reactant. So what you actually have to do is you're going to have an unknown that has this. And remember, this unknown is going to have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay? So we can't figure out the oxygen from these. We have to figure out from the unknown. But what I can do is from the CO2 and H2O, just like I did here, I can figure out the grams of carbon and the grams of hydrogen and then subtract to get the grams of oxygen. Okay? So that's sample exercise 6. So upon combustion, I have a sample. It's 0.8233 grams of a compound that has carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So I have this compound. It's carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, it's 0.8233. And I get 2.445 grams of CO2 and 0.6003 grams of H2O. Okay. So it's really easy to get the moles of CO2 and the moles of H2O just like we did before. We take the grams of CO2, divide by the molar mass to get moles, take the grams of H2O, divide by the molar mass of H2O to get moles. Just like we did earlier, we do our mole ratios. So now I have moles of H, moles of C. What I cannot do is add these two numbers up, right? And assume that I could figure out the oxygen from that. Okay, I can't do that. Because in that combustion, remember, some of the oxygen that's going to the CO2 and O2 wasn't coming from this sample. Some was also coming here. So what I need to do is I need to convert the moles of carbon and hydrogen to grams so that once I have the grams of the carbon and the hydrogen, I can subtract that out from this 0.8233 grams to get just the grams of oxygen. So the original mass of oxygen has to be found through subtraction. So how do I do that? Take the moles of carbon and convert to grams. Take the moles of hydrogen and convert to grams. Now, honestly, we could have done this earlier, okay? What we could have done is done the molar mass. There's 44.01 grams of CO2, and we could have said that there's 12 grams of carbon. And that would have brought us straight here, okay? So you didn't really have to do the mole ratio. It's okay if you did. And then we would have said, well, the 18 grams of H2O, there's 2 moles of hydrogen, each weighs 1 point. So really, we're getting 2.02 grams out of the 18, and we could have got grams of hydrogen. So you could do it that way too, right? But what's important is for now that you have from the 0.8233 grams, you have the grams of carbon and the grams of hydrogen, you're going to subtract that from this total to get the grams of the oxygen. You see that right here, 0.8233 minus the sum of carbon and hydrogen, and it gives me the small amount of oxygen. What do I do? Well, if I have the moles of hydrogen, the moles of carbon, to get, right, this mole ratio, I have to get the moles of oxygen. And that's what I did. I converted the grams from subtraction into moles using molar mass. Like we said before, you can't have these hideous numbers, okay? So I got to pick the smallest number and divide it into all. Now, be careful. Right here, you can see there's only 1 0 after the decimal versus 2. So this is a smaller number by tenths, even though they look similar value. So when I do the division there, I only get 1, and here I get 12 and 10. So you also got to be careful with not rounding too early, because if you round too early, you might get some significant error and not get this result. So I tell students, if this has 4 sig figs, bare minimum, you want to do 5 or 4, at least 4. So all these have 4 so that I avoid round off error. Now for your final answer, if you're going and doing your homework on a website like Active or Mastering Chem, you do not need to write the 1. They'll mark you wrong. So you would just do C10H12O, and that would be the compound. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture with combustion analysis and us applying empirical formula, molecular formula calculations using combustion analysis. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.